Howdy, folks. Dr. Freedom here with you. Yeah, I now know the source of the rumor regarding Jodie Whittaker being signed on for 2 more series. I'm going to wait and hopefully see some more people show up. Then we're going to start talking about this a little more. Now, okay, that was weird. I must have been buffering. Okay, let's see who shows up. Let's not, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is what I've heard. Now, some of you may have heard of a website that's been popping up a lot lately regarding articles for certain things, and it's called CinemaSpot, which is located at cinemaspot.com. Now, what happened is they put out an article, not even, I think it was last week, I'll have to go double check the date, stating that, get ready for this, the Orville has been canceled. Meanwhile, if you go to Twitter and look at Tom Constantino's Twitter account, he's already said, no, the Orville has not been canceled. Plus, if you read the article, after 3 series on Hulu, the Orville hasn't been on Hulu for 3 seasons. It started out, I believe, on Fox for its first 2 years and was just now going to Hulu. Now, while it is rare for a series to be canceled before it even airs on a new network, let's float back to the memory of Swamp Thing, but the reasoning behind that had nothing to do with viewing figures, testing audience. What happened was the state they were filming in at that time, and I can't remember if it was South Carolina or I think it was South Carolina. I have to go double check. Right, they reneged on their promise to give them like $40 million in funding or something like that for filming in their state. So they stuck the Swamp Thing production with the bill they originally promised to pay. So that's why Swamp Thing, which was an incredible freaking series, was canceled before the first episode of it even aired. All right, now that there's a few of you in here, let's get to the Jodie Whittaker rumor. All right, what happened is the same author who wrote this article about the Orville being canceled apparently dropped on Twitter that Doctor Who had been renewed for 2 more series. Jodie Whittaker had signed on, and so had apparently Chris Chibnall. The problem is this author then quoted, get ready for this. Let me see if I can bring up the picture again here real quick. All right. I'm going to read you the actual tweet. Warner Media is in talks to buy Bad Wolf, the production company behind the modern day Doctor Who. Doctor Who's also been renewed for 2 more seasons on top of the current one that is in production. Same cast and crew, end quote. The problem with this is, right off the bat, Bad Wolf Productions doesn't own Doctor Who, you jackass. So, right there, completely effing wrong. And it gets better, because if you follow this conversation, all right, the next tweet from this person, Emre Kaya. Let me clarify some things here. I don't watch the show, so I thought Bad Wolf made Doctor Who, laughing LMAO. LMAO, I'm sorry. Warner Media is still in the process of buying Bad Wolf, and Doctor Who is still renewed for 2 more seasons after the current one that is in production. And then another tweet, get ready for this. When I said the same actors, I meant that is in the same Doctor and her general co-stars. It's possible a few of them will die or leave or whatever, like someone in the thread has suggested. I don't know about that, and I wasn't talking about that. So right here, and from what I've been told, this particular author mainly, is, specialized in doing things like DC, type programming and all that. So it's obvious right here, just from this gathering of tweets, I don't mean to sound mean, but this person has no goddamn idea what the hell they're talking about. So I think, as Fraser here has said, this might be going back to China, buying the rights up to Series 15. But as he said there, right, thank you, Fraser, there's no guarantee the BBC would commission that many seasons. It was never written into that contract. It just said basically, oh yeah, and then oh yeah, apparently I don't want to mention that particular name because he's threatened legal action against me before when I've dared criticize Outpost Cairo or Outhouse Cairo. Um, he has. I still got the proof of it. I still got the message saved. Now, like, all right, now Doctor Who is great. The only thing I've heard is that filming may get pushed back 2 months, possibly to January if it gets that bad, because they are looking at a possible resurgence of COVID over in the UK. But when you look at all the crazy people who are out on the beaches with no masks, no social distancing, just flopping around having a good old time, like the disease is already gone, it's no wonder why it's going to make a resurgence. But now that some of you have come in, yeah, the person who originally made this statement about Jodie Whittaker being on for another 2 years and all that is someone who doesn't even watch the damn show. So, right there, that's got me worried. It's like, so you're writing an article proclaiming you have this information, but you had to go look up who the cast and crew are. And you didn't even know that Bad Wolf does not make Doctor Who. Right there, you're batting 100. Okay, you're swinging a miss, 3 strikes, you're gone. But let me put this big but out there, bigger than mine. Morgan Jeffrey has done some scary things to me. Let me see if I can find the tweet again. I had it bookmarked right here. Just take me a second. But Morgan Jeffrey, who we all know as someone who does write things about Doctor Who every now and then, has apparently put out this tweet. All right, here, I found it. Okay, get ready for this. And this is what he said just 9 hours ago. Quote, I hate to be that guy, but an embargoed press release just dropped into my inbox that genuinely made me say, holy shit out loud. But of course he didn't say that. He spelled, that evil word, with a couple little asterisks. So obviously, but the problem is we don't know if this is about Doctor Who. Because this embargoed news could be about anything sci-fi related. Now, a lot of people are saying that it was a lot of people who do write about Doctor Who got this embargoed piece of information. And I think that's how somebody must have got it if it was relevant, because once again, they're breaking embargo to try to make themselves look better and more informed. We won't name names. Let's just say it's somewhere in the similar neighborhood of Outhouse Cairo, somewhere out that way, near the pyramids. Yeah. Matter of fact, yeah, I agree with Fraser. I think Dawson Cole is gone because we know he's already signed on to another series on Netflix. Not Netflix, sorry, AMC. And Bradley Walsh has already signed on to another series on ITV. If memory serves, I believe it's ITV. I'm going off the brain noggin here. But either way, they've signed on to other things. So that pretty much indicates to me that they're gone. Now, Mandip Gill has said nothing about lining up anything else in the interim. So I kind of agree with Fraser there that it's going to be probably you might see Thasman. No. That's been one of the big crazy things. And it's not beyond belief. A lot of people are going crazy out there about this kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, but what about the Doctor in River Song, the Doctor in Rose, the Doctor in Grace Holloway? Oh, that's right. We ain't allowed to mention her because she's a Fox created character. Yeah, but the thing is this. So until I hear something from, say, Jodie Whittaker does another bomb where she drops it in an interview like she did in that one magazine for Series 13, or until we get an official announcement from somebody or a press release, then I'll believe all this stuff, that it's no longer a rumor that Jodie has signed on for 2 more series. But on the other hand, as I said before, Morgan Jeffrey dropped today that a piece of embargoed press release has dropped into his inbox that literally made him say, holy shit, out loud. So if that is, it would make sense. Plus, Just imagine how, if it is true that Jodie has signed on for 2 more series, imagine the aneurysms that are going to pop. Guy like the bully, the narcotic, and, all them other weirdos out there. I'm not kidding. Their heads are going to explode like that dude in the movie Scanners. Because this would be the final shout of victory, saying, ha, 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 ha. You were completely wrong. Here's the pulse. Here's your fingers, which are jabbed all the way up your ass where your head is stuck. That's exactly what it would say. That, these guys don't know what the hell they're talking about, which is something I've been telling you for a couple of years. It just amazes me that, you've got all these guys using all these clever acronyms and stupid things like virtue signaling. Now, I'm sorry, but if you're watching a television program just to analyze it to see what top secret hidden political messages it's sending you, I've been called a conspiracy nut. This is idiotic and insane. I'm not kidding. It just amazes me how, when I sat down and explained to somebody, why Oswald couldn't have shot Kennedy, 30, 40 years ago, they'd have looked at me like I was a nut. 20 years ago, okay, we're starting to believe it. These days now, well over close to 90% of everybody doesn't buy it, that Oswald shot Kennedy, okay? But these guys are sitting here telling me that they're seeing hidden political messages in a children's sci-fi television show that might stir them to cut off their own testicles. It freaks me out. It really does. And it's like, it makes me want to look at them and go, guys, if anyone on this planet should be wearing tinfoil hats, you guys should. Matter of fact, get some Reynolds or whatever it is and just start going away. Make some maybe make a little swan or some cute origami foil designs for your head, okay? Because you need it. Oh, man. Now, the only time I saw agendas really being pushed on a show, as I said before, is Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And they really put a whole lot of stuff out there they didn't need to, and I think they sacrificed some good storytelling to do so. But that's my opinion. You don't see me going on about it on YouTube for days on end. Just like Starship Dysentery. When's the last time you heard me mention that? Because frankly, I don't watch it and I don't care. But you're not going to see me come on here and make endless hours of videos about it and about its virtue signaling PCSJWs are destroying my world. You're not going to hear me do that all day. Yes, I am passionate about Star Trek and always will be. Matter of fact, Picard rules. Because I love it, because for once, somebody's taking this story forward instead of trying to find new innovative ways to stick it backward. Did that sound wrong? Was that code? So once again, for you folks who have just joined, the Jodie Whittaker signed on for 2 more series rumor began with a tweet on Twitter from a fellow named Amre Kaya, who writes for the cinemaspot.com or the Cinema Spot. You've probably seen it everywhere. Remember, this is the same author who actually wrote an article saying the Orville's been canceled, even though one of the associate producers of the show, Tom Constantino, has already told him it's bunk. And also sat there and said that Warner Media was buying the Bad Wolf Productions, who makes Doctor Who. And it's like, Bad Wolf Productions don't make Doctor Who. But I agree with Fraser there. I think what happened was this person, hang on, I got to take a drinky here. Hang on. Throat got a little dry there. I think this person has been reading about the China deal that said China would purchase Doctor Who up to Series 15. But as Fraser there reminded us, there's nothing saying they had to guarantee that the BBC would actually make 15 series. Now, it would be nice, and if it is true, it does kind of make sense, because 2 more series after 2021, in which Series 13 will air, hopefully, would put us to the 60th anniversary year in 2023. Now, there has been a story running around from various other people And I have heard it through a couple of people that I know that there is a rumor going around that they are going to end Doctor Who on the 60th anniversary in 2023. Now, there's been nothing to confirm that, but who knows? It would be a good time to let it take a little airing out. But as you all know, we a lot of us lived, through the wilderness years and all that. We'll get through it again if we have to. It would be sad, for it to come to an end in 2023. But come on, this show, as of right now, even though we haven't got that many seasons, has been on 15 years, which for a reboot of an earlier program, it's still doing pretty damn good. And I love how, don't matter how many times you remind people that Series 12, which scored 5.46 million viewers, was right there next to Capaldi's Series 10 at 5.5 million viewers. And guess what? They took 2016 off and they took 2019 off. Or was it 2018? Very sorry, I slipped my ears. But either way, you've got a series that took place after nothing really aired for an entire year. And they only lost an average of 1.5 million viewers because the average was around 7.5 million. So why everybody's saying Jodie Whittaker is an absolute failure and all that, I just can't figure out. Now, I know some folks have had some problems with the writing and all that. Me, not really. Sure, they're, in Series 11, what they wanted to do is they tried to take things in a new direction because, and one of my favorite complaints is they didn't have the Daleks or the Cybermen. That's funny because I remember all the complaints up to that point where the Cybermen were overused, the Daleks were overused, and all this. So they tried to say, look, we're going to create all new villains because maybe that's what we need is a breath of fresh air, something in there to, that the fans aren't familiar with, so they can't sit there and say, okay, we know what this villain's going to do. So they kind of threw a little curveball at you. Series 12, I think was a very big improvement. And unlike certain other folks out there, oh gosh, I'm still getting over the fact that a certain YouTuber whose name we will not mention, otherwise they'll strike this video, actually had the nerve to write, now who's not a white male is diversity casting. Oh, by the way, that video disappeared after someone brought it up. That's why I love Trilby. I love Mr. TARDIS. That guy just bangs it head on. We used to bash heads a lot, but at the same time, there's a lot of the time we see things on the same wavelength. Here's the problem. We've bred. All right, Fezman just brought up about hate channels. It seems that the big new trend is if you can't get your way, go vent on the internet, and that's just that's Facebook in a that's Facebook in a pinch, basically. People going there to complain about how bad their lives are or way caught. It's not all that people, but come on. Yes, I loved Series 12. I agree with you there, Fraser. The reason why they're Doctor Who bashers on YouTube is because people exploit other people's misery to make money. A lot of people have been asking me, Dr. Freedom, blah, blah, if they're so wrong, why did he get so many viewers? I said, because they channel into people's dislike, their hates, and they make money off it. Me, I make a very comfortable living in my daytime job. Therefore, I do not rely on YouTube for a paycheck. I don't do this for money. I don't do this for glory. I don't do this for reward. I do this because I genuinely love this program. It was there for me at a very, weird time of my life. It's been there with me since 1983 now. 37 years. Coming up on 40 fast. And that's the thing I loved about the hate channels that Nero there just brought up, or Nerox. You have a bunch of man children who saw the male lead suddenly change. And trust me, I didn't see half the criticism these guys are pumping out on Whittaker and Chibnall as they, done, sure, there were Moffat haters and all that. But just some of the stupid little nitpicking things they're coming up with just to say they don't like episodes. Let me name this week's favorite. Now, for you folks who've been watching this channel, you've seen the video this week. A YouTube channel that we won't name from a certain Irish person went out there and made videos stating that Chris Chibnall was advocating child murder because of the scenes with Tech Tayun and the Timeless Child in the Timeless Children, where Tech Tayun, the kid was regenerating over and over and over. That Chris Chibnall advocates child murder. And I'm like, I couldn't believe some of the stupid arguments that came up when I said, have you even read Stephen King? Some of the stuff he's done to kids? And you think he's a child murderer or a sex pervert? He writes fiction. So does Chris Chibnall. It doesn't mean go out and do it. Oh, God, I remember the good old days when I could watch cartoons and all that without saying, do not do this in real life. It reminds me of the infamous Beavis and Butthead episode where they set gas, they were inhaling gas and one of them lit a lighter and then some idiot in real life did it. And now they had to put a warning on the cartoon saying, do not do this. Or they had to put a warning in front of Beavis and Butthead saying Beavis and Butthead are not real. That's what I mean. You can't sit there and say somebody, trust me, what does that say if someone said in my comment box, what does that say about Russell T. Davies who wiped out Gallifrey? He's not advocating planetary genocide. It's silly. Like I said, I don't know if the show's actually Who books. I don't know if the show's actually ending in 2023. That's just the story I've heard. I don't know if it's true or official. But it would make sense because that would land it on the 60th anniversary year. Would they take a break and bring it back? I do not know. I genuinely do not. I would like them to have Jodie go to go to the dark side. I'm hoping that comes up in this series, but in a way, I don't think they're going to do it because, they're trying to keep children, young adults, and all that on board. And I think they don't want to alienate that audience. Yeah, Fifth Doctor's done it. Sixth Doctor's done it. Remember when the Doctor wiped out the Vervoids? Also, the Seventh Doctor destroyed Skaro, yet it popped right back up again in frickin' way, caught in the movie. It makes me wonder, is there like a gigantic Xerox machine that's hanging out there somewhere like in deep space that the Daleks have that just keeps shitting out a new Skaro every few years? I'm not kidding. It's like, how many frickin' Skaros are there? Ugh. There's Skaro. Well, I'd like to live on Skaro 2566, but the neutron radiation count wasn't high enough. We better go bomb the hell out of that one and make it more hospitable for us. But just for you folks who are just coming in, the Jodie Whittaker rumor, just really quick, started with an author named Amre Kaya on Twitter who writes for Cinema Spot. And remember, the same author who wrote an article saying the Orville was canceled and hasn't even aired on Hulu yet, where it just transferred. But as you guys have brought up, there's been a lot of hate channels on YouTube because they make money off it. There's this small dark corner of the Doctor Who community, and sadly, this small dark corner exists in every community, I've noticed. And it's sad, but it does happen. Where all people do is they gather in these hidden clubs, they gather in all these hidden groups so they can complain about shit. As I've said, I don't like, say, Star Trek Discovery, but you don't see me joining a group saying Star Trek Discovery sucks or blah, 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 or anything like that. I'm not in any hate groups. Because to me, hatred is a waste of time. If you can't make constructive criticism other than, I don't watch Doctor Who anymore since he lost his balls. And that was one of the comments I got on a Doctor Who Facebook channel today. And I'm sorry. I'm narrow-minded, unenlightened, self-interest does not impress me at all. It does not stir my noodle. It does not. I'd rather do something creative. Which, by the way, we're chapter 2 lines will be going out for Murder on the Chautauqua, Dr. Freedom and Eric, Volume 5. And for you folks who keep asking, if you want to listen to the Dr. Freedom and Eric audios, they are on the main YouTube page for Dr. Freedom. You just got to scroll down the playlists. There's Skydark, Death Moon, Comes the Imperator, What Lies Beneath, and we just started Murder on the Chautauqua. All right. Exactly. Back when I was growing up, we didn't have a tenth as many viewing options as people do today. When I was growing up, we had the following channels: 3, 5, 8, 19 came in way later. There was PBS, which was 25. Then there was the UHF channel 43. Years later, 19 came along. Then channel 55 came along. Then there was channel 61. Channel 61 was around for a little while, and then it became a home shopping channel. And that was it. That's all you got. You could maybe get the one affiliate of the other channel, channel 11, if you winged your antenna around and faced it towards Toledo. Yet people have literally thousands of options. If you don't like something, chances are there's 100,000 other things that you can go watch. It just amazes the shit out of me. Ugh. But like I said, it just freaks me out today, how people just can't change a TV channel. It's like you have all these guys on YouTube. They hate Doctor Who, but notice how they watch every episode so they can slam on it. No, let me tell you what's going on. Jodie does not have haters. Jodie has fans who are in denial. They cannot allow they feel their masculinity is threatened if they acknowledge the fact that in any way they can enjoy a female doctor. It's that simple. Or they're incredibly hidden misogynists, and they don't want the general public to see that. Like, my favorite event was when people started calling out on some of these channels bullshit. It became, well, it's not Jodie's fault. It's Chibnall's fault. It's the rating. Jodie's an incredible actress, but too bad they're giving her this bad stuff. Flip-floppers. I'm not kidding. I got another channel nearby next door. Well, kind of, sort of. This person's flip-flopped more times than I can even count. They're like a revolving door in the flip-flop department, okay? It literally is. Hang on, let me get a little drinky here, because it's an allergy day, I guess. Uh-oh, my tea's getting cold because my TARDIS is disappearing. Now, I had a couple people ask questions. This right here is a TARDIS keychain. I keep forgetting to mention that in the videos. And that up there on my, if you've noticed it yet, hanging midair, that is the TARDIS Christmas ornament. I've got it hanging because it doesn't light up or anything. It's just a basic TARDIS. Yeah, we have a billion channels. Matter of fact, how many of you here have like a Roku stick or a Fire Stick or anything like that on your TV? Because recently, now what happened was I had a Blu-ray DVD player that had the wireless so I could watch Netflix on it, and also had a USB port so I could watch programs on it or movies or whatever. And it died. So we were out, and turns out because of the COVID thing, they did not have any replacement players. Not for 30 miles we went. And then one of the guys goes, "Have you ever tried a Roku stick?" Okay. So I've got that on the TV out there right now. So I can connect the Netflix to that. I can watch, like, God knows how many things on Pluto, Tubi, So I mean, and that's all free. I only paid $39 for that stick, and I got like, I don't know, 100 channels now option. And that's legal. Sure, you got to put up with stupid ass article, ads every now and then. Like, if I see that stupid ad from Siesta Key one more time, I'm going to gouge out my own eyeballs and poke out my own eardrums. Oh, but yeah, it was worth it. $39, and it's not like you're paying that a month either. It's just one time, and it feeds right off my wireless. Hell, it gets better wireless connection than my damn player ever did. That's what's amazing about it. But they have entire channels, dedicated just to shit. Like, we were watching Addams Family. There's the channel that only shows the old Addams Family TV series. There's channels that show nothing like but NCIS, CSI stuff like it just boggles your mind. Oh, and by the way, Pluto TV has a classic Doctor Who TV channel. So you can sit there and watch classic Doctor Who all day long if you want. Yep. You can watch it all day. And the only thing I'm paying for that's on it is Netflix, because every now and then you still get good stuff on Netflix. Like, Umbrella Academy was awesome. How many here have watched the Umbrella Academy? Anybody here watch the Umbrella Academy? Latest series. Anybody here notice yet that one little young lady who's on there? You're going to get a kick because she played Gat in Fugitive of the Jadoon. You'll recognize her right off the bat. The one character on there. I believe the actress's name is Rita Aru. She's on season 2 of the Umbrella Academy, and she played Gat, the Time Lord, in Fugitive of the Jadoon towards the end. I haven't watched Cursed yet. I keep hearing about it, but I don't know. I'm kind of leaning away from the whole medieval fantasy thing right now. Well, Gat's gun blew up, so I don't think we're going to see her back. And Fugitive of the Jadoon. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to touch religion in Doctor Who. I don't think there's going to be a Virgin Mary story arc. Because that's one thing Doctor Who will tend to stay away from. I was shocked when they had an Easter special. Okay. And that the doctor mentioned he was at the first Easter. I was like, oh my God, they're actually going to go there? You see, that's the thing, Black Phoenix. It can always be retconned. Doctor Who has retconned itself, I don't know how many times. Like, anybody remember that guy Omega who founded time travel, yet later on it became Rassilon? Now it's Omega and Rassilon. They kind of got together, high-fived, and boom, they had time travel. Okay, it's just kind of weird thing going on there. Yeah, it's just, I'm not a religious guy, but you don't see me enforcing my views on other people, okay? I agree with George Carlin. We're part of probably a larger order than we'll ever understand. I am a Carlinist. The thing is, I would love to have Omega return or even Rassilon pop up as a villain, but will they do it at this point? Oh yeah, I remember those, Matt. When somebody was running around saying Omega was coming back. I was hoping he was coming back myself. I thought the clues were going to lead there, and it didn't. Which would have been far more better than the Stinking rat piece of crap we got. Oh, sorry. I was fading back into that again. I can't do it. I got to stay away from that subject. No. We won't discuss the 8th anniversary special. All right. Sorry. So for you folks who are just pouring in, the source of the article or whatever it was, the source of the Jodie Whittaker is signed on for 2 some more series thing was a tweet, that was put out by an author who writes for Cinema Spot, who's also the one who said the Orville's been canceled. Yet Tom Constantino, one of the producers for the Orville's, been saying, nope, it's not. Or here's one that'll blow your brains out, because I've mentioned this before, but I want to mention it again for you new people. All right, in The Timeless Children, when you say Tecteun all dolled up in the big white outfit with the big white, whatever you call that collar thing, and you see her walking off, there's these 2 Time Lords standing by that little brightly lit doorway. If you read the script for that episode, which anybody can do, it's out there, those figures are specifically named as being Omega and Rassilon. So right there, they've tied in. This was the birth of time travel at that point. But Omega got the raw end of the deal. Literally got the whole black hole end of it. Talk about being shot out the ass of the universe. Damn. Yeah, it does matter. It's all tied in. Yep. They're Omega and Rassilon. It is all tied in. Oh, God, not Lung Barrow. Please. Don't mention Lung Barrow. Everybody's been holding Lung Barrow up like the frickin' Holy Bible of Doctor Who now for I don't know how many years. The problem is, if you read Lung Barrow, and I haven't read it, but this is what I've been told, you basically learn everything right down to the doctor's home address. And it's like, it was meant to be a thing against, I guess, the people who canceled the show. And yeah, the whole loom thing kind of freaked me out. I haven't read the novel itself, but I've read a lot of people who've talked about it. I've read some of the cliff notes of it, because they do mention Lung Barrow in one of the Doctor Who big finishes, where it was one of the lost stories or something like. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a Pete Davis one of her, because there's no way to get a hold of it because it's out of print, yet everybody holds it up as the holy grail of Doctor Who. But it's like, the problem is with Doctor Who continuity and canon, it changes so often that you can't sit there and say, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. Like, I actually had a guy go, well, they shouldn't change anything. And I said, do you want it? Is that your final answer? And he's like, why'd you say that for? And I said, because if they hadn't have changed anything, the show would have died with Bill Hartnell when he left back in 1966. Because you wouldn't have had Time Lords. You wouldn't have had Gallifrey getting a name. You wouldn't have had Regeneration getting a name. You wouldn't have had Regeneration, period. You wouldn't have had, I could run the list. That if, and it just, also another thing about the Timeless Child storyline, everybody's been going on about, there can't be doctors before that. They've disgraced the memory of Will Hartnell. I go, just like they did back in 1976 and no one cared? Sorry, guys, the brain of Morbius did it back in 76 where they said there were doctors before Hartnell. Now, everyone made the mistake of thinking the other faces that popped up were the face of Morbius. That was not true. Those were the faces of previous incarnations of the Doctor, who've now been canonized in the Timeless Children. I think I just blew my own brain out there. Wait a minute. Hang on. I think I popped the vessel. Okay, the thing about Romana is, it's been so many years since Romana's even been mentioned that the BBC probably won't touch it with a 50-foot pole. I think that's the other reason why they're not letting old companions appear on the show. They want them to fade out of view. Because they were going to let Ace pop up in class in Series 2. But of course, Series 2 didn't happen. Yeah, I had the canonicity of Big Finish argument with somebody the other day, and I'm like, guys, did you watch Night of the Doctor? He goes, yeah. I go, you know all those names that Paul McGann named off before he took the potion? He goes, yeah, those were all Big Finish companions. And he just kind of quietly disappeared at that point. Yes, Matt, but if you don't change things every now and then, you go stale. And how do you change things with proper execution? Who makes that decision? Come on, people were going nuts when they named a female doctor. And I love how quickly they all shut up when they found out that, oh, by the way, you realize that, Sidney Newman, the guy who created the show back in 86, suggests they replace Colin Baker with a female doctor. I think that kind of kills the whole doctor was always meant to be a man argument. And they tried coming up with a billion things. And I'm like, guys, no. Guy who created show suggested female doctor. Your argument is now invalid. Also, if you put limits on Doctor Who, then it's going to die. I'm very sorry, but the one reason this show has been around for 57 plus years, coming up on 57 years now, is that its ability to change and flow with the times. And if you try to say, well, you need proper execution to change something, then no. I'm just giving it as an example, man. I'm not saying you're anti-Jodie or anything. Don't worry about it. I'm just giving it as an example of how things can change. Like I said, if it hadn't been for changes, Gallifrey got named. Hell, the Doctor didn't even have two hearts until Spearhead from Space. They never really touched on his physical anatomy. It was always assumed he had one, but it turns out no, we find out later he has two. You see what I mean? Little things keep going like that. No, I think Gallifrey, stick a fork in it, it's done. And the reason why I think Chibs did this was Moffat brought Gallifrey back, and there were people who thought that by bringing Gallifrey back, it's always going to be sitting there on his shoulder. Or her shoulder, whichever one you want to say. And a lot of people, here's one that really drove me crazy. How could the Master go in and wipe out Gallifrey and all that? I said, because this isn't Gallifrey in its heyday anymore. This is Gallifrey in the wake of the Time War. All right? It's not all that powerful. That's why they were hiding. All right? Yeah, I believe Gallifrey, stick a fork in it, it's done. And I think that's the reason why not only did they wipe out the population, they also fired off the death particle. So don't worry, man. I wasn't putting you as an anti-Jodie person. I'm just saying this is how things can change as we go along, depending on views. And doing big changes like that takes a lot of courage. Because when you take on a show like Doctor Who, you're only a tenant of it. Well, you couldn't change things just for the sake of it. I think a lot of changes Doctor Who does aren't always thought out very well. If you sit down and try to, think out how to put a major change into the Doctor Who continuity, you're literally going to end up disemboweling your own head with a wooden cooking spoon. Okay, you're literally just going to have to unravel your entire cortex just to contemplate, okay, how can I change this in a way That's not going to piss off somebody, because it's never going to happen. You're never going to satisfy everyone. You have to have the courage to say, look, I'm the showrunner now, and this is the way I say goes. Now, another showrunner could step in later and say, it was all bullshit. And that's why I don't really go crazy about the whole timeless child thing, because even if you don't like it, if another showrunner or another person comes along later, they go, it's all bullshit. Just like, remember when the Doctor was half human for a few minutes back in 96? And I'm dying laughing because the big explanation, it was all a joke, and they keep forgetting there was a scene later in the movie where the Master brought up the Doctor's DNA chain, looks right at it and goes, the Doctor's half human. It wasn't a joke. It was right there later in the story. But of course, now that's all. Some people should be happy because that's pretty much kaput. All right, that's... No, the Master can always come back. There's no... Trust me. You could cut that guy into a billion pieces and mail him to every different corner of the cosmos. Okay, that's interesting. All right. That's pretty weird. Yeah, I'm always wishing they would bring back some of the classic villains and stuff like that, like the Ronnie. But you see, the thing I loved about the Ronnie was the Ronnie just kind of didn't give a shit. Oh, here we go. Someone was impersonating you, Matt, and we already know who that is. Probably the dancing boy or one of his little cohorts. That's not the real Matt, that other account. Matt on Wheels is the real Matt. Which means now we're going to get... Yeah, someone was impersonating you, Matt. They were going under the name Matt Edwards. I just gave him a little kaput kick. They'll be back under a new name in about 2 minutes. It's guaranteed. Yeah, I was always hoping they'd bring back the Mara, because the Mara was a pretty interesting villain in and of itself. But okay, before we go, Sasha Dewan is post Missy. That was confirmed at Gallifrey 1 over a year ago. So Sasha Dewan is post Missy. That's pretty much confirmed. Don't worry about it, Matt. It wasn't you. Matter of fact, here's some more trivia for you. Like when Carol Ann Ford, a lot of people are asking, why don't they bring people back? When Carol Ann Ford went to the set and met with Peter Capaldi and all that, Peter Capaldi was basically demanding Moffat bring her back. And of course, the word from upper floor, guys on floor 6, is no. And like I said, I think a lot of it has to do with, the same reason they said no classic companions in the 50th anniversary special. Well, we always feel a little old and dated now when we go back and watch the classic series. It's like you have to sit there and think, yeah, the special effects and all that were not that great, but the storytelling was awesome. Not really. It does not undo her character development at all. The Master was never going to turn good. The only advent in which the Master was going to redeem himself died with Roger Delgado back in the 70s. I'm very sorry to say that. They were going to have a storyline that was going to be originally at the end of the one season. The Master was going to die saving the Doctor somehow. And that all died with Roger Delgado, sadly. Sadly, we can't undo the past. Yeah, like I said, Matt brought up Capaldi. We're never going to hear the definitive truth on that, at least not for another 20, 30 years. If they do the same thing they did with Eccleston, it'll be another 10 years before we hear anything about that. But I honestly think that was the guys on floor 6 sat down and said, well, we're going to do this now, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I haven't listened to Missy Series 2 yet. I kind of took a break from Big Finish for a while, and I'm going to come back to it eventually. Sorry, I'm trying to get caught up here in the reading. One of my favorite lines there, Dawn. Yeah. From Omega. Back in the Three Doctors. BBC managing her in hiding. Yeah, I can believe that. Well, it depends. Black Phoenix. The main range is coming to a close at a certain number. And they're going to go into all box sets from now on for different Doctors. Like I said, if you want to start with like 8th Doctor, like I said, I recommend if you can find them, the 8th Doctor adventures were really good. You'll fall in love with a new companion named Lucy Miller. And the main range's first companion was Charlie Pollard. Now, Jenna Coleman's gone on to greener pastures. I don't think we're going to see her back. Yeah, Lucy Bleeding Miller. Yeah, I love that character. The problem is it's not a matter of whether I think they'll do another spin-off series. It's a matter that will the BBC even bother? They obviously, I think, set up Class to fail. Come on, you had the showrunner writing all the episodes. And then, when they did finally air it on the BBC, they aired it on Monday nights at 11 o'clock at night. Now, there is word going around about a K9 animated series being put out in place of the movie that Bob Baker and Dave Martin, sorry if I just butchered their names, we're going to do. Now, like I said, we'll have to see how that turns out. Originally, they were going to do there was a concept there. You can find the drawings out there. There were talks of a Doctor Who animated series way, way back. I think it was in the 80s or 90s. It was way back there. And you can see the actual drawings. They're still drifting around out there on the internet. Oh, I can agree with you on that. Yeah, definitely about Class. Yeah. Okay, somebody's trying to, what do you call it, run out the chat. Okay, so one last time before we go, because I'm going to cut this out here in a couple minutes. The source of the Jodie Whittaker signed on for 2 more series rumor came from a person named Amre Kaya, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering her name. And this person writes for cinemaspot.com. And as I said, they basically said, that all this stuff, and it turns out that they didn't even know that BBC, what you call that, Doctor Who's not made by Bad Wolf. They're also the ones who said the Orville's been canceled, when one of the associate producers has said, no, it hasn't. It's like, I don't know where they're hearing it. And see, I'll have to put a link to it for you in the box. It's a couple of my favorite trolls because they can't get attention otherwise. That's who's been trying to spam the box, and I've been expecting him to return. No biggie. Well, folks, we're coming up on the end of the hour. So, once again, for now, the fact that Jodie Whittaker signed on for 14 and 15, that is a rumor. It started with a person named Amerikaya, same person who said the Orville's been canceled, and it turns out the Orville's probably not been canceled, given one of the associate producers has said it's not true. Also, they're the ones who said to get ready for this that, bad. All right, let me reread it for you real quick. Warner Media is in talks to buy Bad Wolf, the production company behind modern day Doctor Who. And then they said Doctor Who's also been renewed for 2 more seasons on top of the current one that is in production. Same cast and crew. Then they go to, let me clarify some things. I don't watch the show, so I thought Bad Wolf made Doctor Who. LMAO, I'm sorry. So that kind of tells me right there just how much they've studied the topic material they were talking about. So until we get an official announcement, the only thing we know is a number of sci-fi writers, folks who write articles for various sci-fi zines, have received a piece of embargo news. Morgan Jeffrey said it made him stand up and shout, holy shit. But we don't know if it's about Doctor Who or not. We don't know what that piece of information is until it's released. Exactly. Bad Wolf Productions don't make Doctor Who. You got it. Personally, I think she's going to finish out the year. I think she's going to do 3 years and gone. Well, folks, I'm going to get on out of here because there's some other stuff I got to get done tonight. Thanks for tuning in, all of you. Remember, this is all a rumor. Until we hear it from Jodie Whittaker, Chris Chibnall, someone at the BBC, or an official press release from a page as actually an official page, not just one that's named themselves that. Yeah, there's a Twitter channel out there calling themselves an official Doctor Who news source. They're about as an official Doctor Who news source as Federal Express and Federal Reserve are members of the federal government. So be very careful where you get your news. As I've told you all before 100 times, beware of false prophets. Be very careful where you get your news from. If I hear anything different, I'll let you know. So take care, everyone. Have a good night. Be careful. Remember, COVID's still out there. Y'all stay safe with you and your loved ones. Good night.